Let's talk pathophys of osteoporosis. So if you remember back from renal block, we generally store calcium and then we are generally pulling it from the bones to get it into the bloodstream. We have the kidney that can reabsorb calcium, and we have the gut, which is where we absorb calcium that we eat. And so we're getting calcium, but then vitamin D helps us do it better. A couple things we haven't talked about yet are osteoblasts and osteoclasts. So osteoblasts are builders. So I've got a little Bob the Builder right here. Osteoclasts are crashers. So I've got a little wrecking ball. So in osteoporosis, our issue is we have too much crashers. We have more osteoclasts than we have osteoblasts. So when you're thinking through treatment targets, we're going to try to downplay the osteoclasts and increase what the osteoblasts are doing. The couple of hormones that the body uses to regulate this are PTH and calcitonin. So those might also be potential places to provide some pharmacotherapy. So for PTH, if you remember back from renal block, a lot of times people have hyperparathyroidism, and so they might be having too much calcium and phosphate pulled out of the bones and being put into the blood. That activity is associated with osteoclasts. So our crashers are signaled by PTH to crash more. Calcitonin does the opposite. And so calcitonin is in support of osteoblasts. So Bob the Builder likes calcitonin. For everybody with osteoporosis and osteopenia, we want to maximize their absorption of calcium in the gut. So we give generally calcium supplements, and then we also give vitamin D to help the gut absorb calcium better. Can't do anything about the kidney. We hope the kidney works, but we don't have anything to increase calcium absorption in the kidney. If we're treating for osteoporosis or osteopenia, we have a few different medications that we can use. So the most common one, the thing you probably see the most, is bisphosphonates. So bisphosphonates actually go into the bone, and they block the activity of osteoclasts. So what they do is they bind to calcium in the bone, and the osteoclasts aren't able to eat up the calcium in the bone like they normally would. Denosumab is its place in therapy is basically people who cannot have bisphosphonates because their renal function is too poor. And denosumab is a monoclonal antibody, so it blocks rank L, it's a ligand, and by doing that, that's a precursor, or it's in the precursor cascade to the formation of osteoclasts. So this again is decreasing osteoclast activity. So we have raloxifene. Raloxifene is a selective estrogen receptor modulator. So raloxifene will go in and do things that estrogen normally would. So it's for somebody who doesn't have enough estrogen, like somebody who's been through menopause. And raloxifene will actually decrease some precursors to osteoclasts. They think it's mostly interleukins. So you're kind of blocking the interleukins and decreasing osteoclasts. So all three of those drugs have gone through this mechanism, decreasing the activity of osteoclasts. We have two left. We have PTH analogs, so parathyroid hormone analogs. So they do some of the same things as what your body does with parathyroid hormone. They increase the renal absorption of calcium. They increase the gut uptake of calcium. One thing that they do a little different here. So our PTH analogs, because you're only giving them for a short amount of time, the body's only exposed to them for a short amount of time. And so by giving it for that little amount of time, instead of how it normally signals for osteoclasts to work, it actually ends up signaling for osteoblasts to work. If you think of it, it's done just a tiny bit of crashing, and now the bone is stimulated to start rebuilding. So our parathyroid analogs actually result in building up more bone. And then finally we have calcitonin. So that is this hormone. So we can give this hormone, and that will potentially increase osteoblasts.